Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please call the City Council roll?
Councilmember Broadwater.
Here.
Councilmember Doe.
Here.
Councilmember Wynn. Mayor Pro Tem Jones.
Here.
Mayor Dalton.
Here. Okay, we've called the meeting to session, let's start all over. Okay. We are going to have a closed session item. And at this time, I want to open oral communications for the closed session. If there's anyone here who would like to speak, seeing or hearing none, I will close the oral communications. We're having a closed session. The City Council will be going into closed session as noted on the agenda for purposes of the discussion under Government Code Section 54959.6b. The facts and circumstances involve potential enforcement of the city ordinance on medical marijuana dispensaries. We will also adjourn to the closed session and the study session, which will both be held in the Founders Room.
Hey, but if that's going to rock your world, go ahead. I mean, since it doesn't matter, you know. What's the hard law? Good for a good time, not a long time. You have a good looking forward. Kinds of like little one-liners like that.
We'll now call the meeting for the Garden Grove Housing Authority. Madam Clerk, could you please take roll?
Commissioner Beckles.
Yes, here.
Commissioner Dalton.
Here.
Commissioner Doe.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner O'Connor. Here. Vice Chair Broadwater.
Here.
Chair Wynn.
Here. We will now go to the oral communications. Do we have any public comments?
Cards.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Any commissioner comments, Madam Clerk? Okay. We'll now go through the consent item. Item 2.
Move the issue.
Second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Thank you. There are no public hearings on calendar or items for consideration. Any matters from commissioners and director?
I just want to say welcome to Commissioner Beckles, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Okay. Just before Commissioner Beckles leave, I want to share a little bit about Commissioner Beckles. Commissioner Beckles lived in New York, worked at York Insurance Company in New York as a clerk, and then she moved to California, where she worked at Robinson's May. That's a long time ago. As a cologne specialist, and then later at Macy's as a polo specialist. Then Commissioner Beckles volunteered work on the board of director at UCI Medical and also at H. Lewis Lake Senior Center. And she also teaches children at the Second Baptist Church Awana Club. What an accomplishment. And thank you for your involvement. Welcome.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. I will now call for the adjournment of the Garden Grove Housing Authority, and the next meeting will be Tuesday, March 22nd, 2011 at 6:30 p.m. in the Council's chamber.
Well, that was your first meeting. Orange shirt on. Okay, I'd like to call the Garden Grove City Council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Councilmember Broadwater,
Here.
Councilmember Doe,
Here.
Councilmember Wynn,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jones,
Here.
Mayor Dalton.
Here. Okay, we'll have the invocation by Keith Jones, the Public Works Director, and I'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, be with us as we gather this evening. Purify our intentions, strengthen our purpose, and grant that in serving our fine community, we might also serve you. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please help me and pledge allegiance to the flag of the greatest country in the world. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I see we have a spotlight.
Yes, we do, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like Keith Jones to make the spotlight this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Fertel. This evening, the City of Garden Grove and the City Council pays tribute to a longtime local resident who has spent 4 decades putting the youth of the community first. Her steadfast advocacy for and protection of children has earned her the prestigious title of 2011 Garden Grove Citizen of the Year from the Cypress College Americana Awards. Would Pat Halberstadt please come forward? Each year, the Americana Awards honor citizens from the 8 cities, including Garden Grove, that form Cypress College's primary service area. Awards recipients are chosen based on their humanitarianism, philanthropy, and partnership efforts within their communities. Pat possesses all of these traits and embodies the very essence of charity, enriching and improving the lives of each and every one of our community's kids in her mission. And it is one she accomplishes every day as Chief Professional Officer for the Boys and Girls Club of Garden Grove. Pat's passion for children's issues began in 1974 when she returned to the city she grew up in, Garden Grove, after earning her bachelor's degree and teaching credential. That was when she took over what was then known as the Girls Club of Garden Grove. She was the only employee with an annual budget of $29,000 a year. The club served 250 youth a day back then, and Pat treated each and every one of them like her own. Today, the Boys and Girls Club of Garden Grove collaborates with a variety of agencies and offers after-school programs at 49 campuses, works with a budget of $10 million, and has a staff of 450 employees and provides services to 5,000 students a day. While the number of kids being helped is now in the tens of thousands, Pat continues to be a surrogate mom to all of them. The number of children's lives she has impacted is simply countless. After 40 years, Pat says she now has the pleasure of seeing the children they've served become responsible and caring adults. She says, and I quote, "Clearly nothing you do for children is ever wasted." At this time, the Garden Grove City Council would like to present Pat Halberstadt with a resolution in honor of her meritorious recognition as the 2011 Cypress College Americana Garden Grove Citizen of the Year. Congratulations, Pat, on your very well-deserved achievement.
I don't know if you can hear me still. I just want to say I don't think you can find a person in the city of Garden Grove that does more for the youth, for the boys and girls. And for as many years as you've done it, and many more years, we're going to expect you to keep doing it. I want to thank you very much for what you do for the community and the kids. It's important.
One, two, three. One more. One, two, three.
Thank you, Pat.
Well, Mr. Mayor and members of City Council, members of City staff, I appreciate the recognition, but mostly I appreciate the opportunity for a couple of reasons to speak tonight about, first of all, how much I believe in the programs at Cypress College and how important our community colleges are in the pathways of making our kids stronger and more responsible citizens. And community colleges are a great way for our kids to make plans and to accomplish a lot in life. So I'm honored to be part of the Cypress College tradition of the Americana Awards. But mostly I wanted to be here to talk to you a little bit about the Boys and Girls Clubs of Garden Grove, because it's all about the organization. It's not about a single person there. And we've been in Garden Grove now for more than 55 years, serving the kids of the community. And it's taken the concerted effort of great teams of people, including our volunteer board of directors, who give of their time and their money and their energy and all their thoughtfulness, and a terrific, dedicated, youthful, energetic staff who show up every day to make sure that the kids get everything they need to support their academic success, but also, too, to make sure they still have fun. All the volunteers who've come along the way, and people like city staff, school district, police department, who've always partnered with us and been very generous with their time and their resources in order to help us do our jobs the best we can. So on behalf of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Garden Grove, I'm really happy to accept this award because, again, it's something that a single person could never even dream to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat.
Pat, Mayor, can I say something real quick?
Please.
Pat, before you leave, I want to relate my own experience at back then, the Boys Club.
Oh, great.
In the late 70s, we moved here from Vietnam, and the Boys Club was really home to me for many, many days, especially in the summertime when my parents are at work. I was introduced to the wood shop there, play basketball, a lot of games. The main thing is it was a place that I could go to and experience different things. And so even back then, and this is a while ago, the Boys Club and now the Boys and Girls Club has always been a home to a lot of needy kids. And I cannot tell you what impact that has had on other children, just like it had on my life. So I want to thank you and the club for being there for all of those children as well as in my life.
Well, it's been a pleasure, and I have to say you're a stellar example of what a club kid turns out to be. Councilmember Doe, now that we know you're a club alum, we'll be calling on you to continue to support the club. But again, you're a perfect example of what we hope every child could achieve.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm proud you were a member. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll open oral communications for the council, the agency, and the sanitary district. Charles Mitchell.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and staff. Those of you who may have seen the HBO series Band of Brothers remembers that the lead character was an officer named Richard Winters, Dick Winters, who led the Easy Company right after the landing in Normandy, and later became the commander of the 2nd Battalion of the 506th Parachute Regiment of the 101st Airborne Division. Unfortunately, Dick Winters passed away a few weeks ago. But there was another member of the Band of Brothers, a man named Ed Mauser, M-A-U-S-E-R, who was not portrayed in any way in the book or the miniseries, but he also passed away recently. And he never spoke of his experiences to anyone, including his family, until finally, just before he passed away, he talked about it in an interview. But the main thing he said was what most of those of that generation said. He was only doing his job. I'd like to read a poem to you that I received recently. He was getting old and paunchy, and his hair was falling fast. And he sat around that legion telling stories of the past, of a war that he once fought in and the deeds that he had done, and his exploits with his buddies. They were heroes, every one. And though sometimes to his neighbors his tales became a joke, all his buddies listened quietly, for they knew whereof he spoke. But we'll hear his tales no longer, for old Bob has passed away. And this world's a little colder, for a soldier died today. He won't be mourned by many, just his children and his wife, for he lived an ordinary, very quiet sort of life. He held a job and raised a family, going quietly on his way. And the world won't note his passing, though a soldier died today. When politicians leave the earth, going quietly, when politicians leave the earth, their bodies lie in state, while thousands note their passing and proclaim that they were great. Papers talk of their life stories from the time that they were young, but the passing of a soldier goes unnoticed and unsung. Is the greatest contribution to the wealth of our land someone who breaks his promises and cons his fellow man, or the ordinary fellow who in times of war and strife goes off to serve his country and offers up his life? The politicians stipendied and the style in which they live are often disproportionate to the service that they give, while the ordinary soldier who offered up his all is paid off with a medal, perhaps a pension, small. It is not the politicians with their compromise and ploys who won for us the freedom that our country now enjoys. Should you find yourself in danger with your enemies at hand, would you really want some cop-out with the ever-waffling stand? Or would you want a soldier his home, his country, his kin, just a common soldier who would fight until the end? He was just a common soldier, and his ranks are growing thin. But his presence should remind us we may need his like again. For when countries are in conflict, we find the soldier's part is to clean up all the troubles that the politicians start. If we cannot do him honor, well, he's here to hear the praise. then at least let's give him homage at the ending of his days. Perhaps a simple headline in the paper that might say, "Our country is in mourning. A soldier died today." Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have another card, so I'll close oral communications. And if there are no council member comments, we'll go to, I'll recess the council, and we'll go to the agency.
City Clerk, please show that all are present. We've gone to oral communications, so let's go to consent items, number 4.
So move.
Second.
Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
There are no public hearings. There are items for consideration, no matters from agency members. Well, there may be. Anybody want to make it? Okay. We'll adjourn until March the 8th, 2011. I would like to make a comment about what Mitchell just said. You know, it's great to recognize Dick Winters. He was a fantastic leader in World War II and certainly fought it all the way through. They dropped into Normandy. But I really despise the idea of taking a slap at politicians to recognize somebody else. I happen to be a politician, and I happen to have been a soldier. And the truth of the matter is I know a lot of great politicians. George Washington was a fantastic politician. Adams, Jefferson, all of them were great. Abraham Lincoln. And I know a lot of city councilmen that are great politicians. And just because you want to say goodbye to a very great man, you don't have to slap the rest of us down when you do it. I think our current mayor is a good politician. I don't know if I'll go great, but really good. And I think there's not a person on this council that I'm not ashamed of serving with. And I've served with probably more than anybody else on this council. And although there's some people that I disagreed with them, I don't know of one single person that ever served on this council that wasn't for the city of Garden Grove doing the best thing. And so anyway, I just wanted to make that comment. There was no reason to slap every politician in the world just because you wanted to bury somebody properly.
Okay, we'll recess the council, and we'll go to the Sand District and let the record show that all members are present. Consent items.
Just a minute.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Call for the vote. Any matters from any board
Received,
members?
5 yes votes.
Sorry. Any matters from any board members?
No.
Okay, hearing none, the next scheduled meeting will adjourn till will be Tuesday, March 22nd, 2011 at 6:30 p.m. here. Okay, we'll reconvene the council and go to consent items.
Mr. Mayor, it's recommended that items 6A through 6M be acted on simultaneously unless a separate discussion or action is requested by a council member.
Move the balance.
Okay, I have a motion
Second.
and a second. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Wynn?
Move.
Councilmember Wynn? I didn't
Oh,
get-
I'm sorry.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, public hearings.
Mr. Mayor, you have a public hearing night to consider an amended and restated agreement with Chevron Energy Solutions for a solar panel system for our municipal buildings, and Ann Eifert is here to give a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Fatal. Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, in October 2009, the Department of Energy awarded the city $1.5 million in energy efficiency conservation block grant funding. A contract was awarded to Chevron Energy Solutions for the construction of a solar carport shade structure and electrical infrastructure upgrades at the Municipal Service Center. In April 2010, the DOE notified Public Works that the electrical upgrades, which were required by Edison, were no longer eligible for grant funding. Staff has identified a new project that can be entirely paid for with grant funding. With the approval of the DOE, we propose to install rooftop solar systems at the Yard and Public Safety Building. The combined rooftop systems will generate a total of 181 kilowatts of energy and save the city over $2 million over 25 years. The cost of the revised project remains unchanged at $1.47 million. There's no impact to the general fund. Per California Government Code, a public hearing is required to amend the energy services contract with Chevron. It is recommended that the City Council open the public hearing and take public comment, adopt the attached resolution amending and restating the energy services contract with Chevron Energy Solutions, and authorize the city manager to execute the attached amended and restated energy services contract with Chevron Energy Solutions to install the rooftop solar systems at the City Yard and Public Safety Building. Staff is available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Okay, hearing none, I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
I'll move the issue.
A motion and a second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, the next is items for consideration.
Mr. Mayor, 9A is an award of contract to All American Asphalt, and Keith Jones is here to give a staff report on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Vitale. Project includes Chapman Avenue, Valley View Street to Springdale Street, Western Avenue, Garden Grove Boulevard to Simmons Place, Chapman Avenue, Western Avenue to the City of Stanton boundary, Garden Grove Boulevard, Beach Boulevard to Fern Street, and Trask Avenue, Euclid Street to 700 feet west of Harbor Boulevard. It's the typical reconstruction project with new pavement, fabric, and other appurtenances that go with that. Out of the 6 bids received, All American Asphalt came in with the lowest qualified bidder at $2,197,854, and the project is slated to begin construction around March 21st. There'll be no general fund impact with this project, and therefore it is recommended the City Council award a contract to All American Asphalt in the amount of $2,197,854 for project number 7237 for the 5 Arterial Street Rehabilitation 2011 at Chapman Avenue, Western Avenue, Chapman Avenue, Western Avenue to the City of Stanton boundary, Garden Grove Boulevard, and Trask Avenue, and authorize the city manager to execute the contract on behalf of the city. Completes my report. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
A motion is second. Call for the vote.
Motion received, 5 yes votes.
Okay, we'll go to matters. Mr. Broadwater, do you have anything?
Happy birthday to Councilman Jones' wife. How many birthdays does that make for her? I don't suppose you want to say that, do you?
He has to go home tonight. No. Okay, Ms. Wynn.
Yes, I'd like to say happy birthday to Manny also, and I hope she have a nice evening with her husband and kids. Also, don't forget to buy in Garden Grove. We need the revenues, and also I want you to visit Burlington Coat Factory. Went there last weekend. They have great items there, especially for professionals who want suits there. They have lots of good suits.
Thank you. Mr. Jones.
Just a happy birthday to my lovely wife, Manny. Still my spring chicken.
Okay. Mr. Doe. Okay, happy birthday to Manny. And there are a couple things I'd like to mention. Last week at the community center here right in this building, there was a job fair, and there were 35 to 40 different companies or businesses that were represented here that were hiring employees. And it was something like, when I was here it was packed, but there was somewhere between 1,600 and 2,000 people that came in here. And, I mean, everybody had applications filled out. I'm very hopeful that some of them were able to get a job. But it really went very well, and the city and the chamber and everybody involved in it is certainly to be thanked for that. And I think if we find out that they were successful, maybe we'll want to do it again a little quicker as opposed to waiting, for 6 months or something. Another thing, too, about 6 or 7 years ago, I started a program called the Mayor's Link. And what that was is I'd go out and I'd meet some of the new business people that just came into the city, or actually sometimes some of the businesses that had been here for some length of time. And I went to this company. I just want to tell you a little bit about them. It's kind of interesting. They're CSM Fitness Equipment, and it's 12822 Monarch Street. And I had the opportunity with some people from City Hall to tour the business. I was really impressed with this company. They sell slightly used and refurbished workout machines made by top-notch manufacturers. The company started in 1984 as a health club maintenance company servicing top-of-the-line fitness equipment. They used to get asked often if they knew of good deals on equipment. Well, back then there was no formal market for this kind of business, so they started one. Today this is a $100 million business, and CSM is a major player in this field. The company recently relocated from Irvine, and the owner who I talked to, Craig, researched new locations for a year, and the city that had everything that he needed was Garden Grove. We had the best price, the best location, and best facility available. He says he now has 2.5 times the square footage in Garden Grove for the same amount of rent that he was paying in South County. I really like the company's philosophy of offering quality products at a reasonable price. And I also like the fact that they would like to partner with community groups and donate refurbished fitness equipment to nonprofits offering services to the kids, and remind me to talk to Pat Halberstadt and see if this is something that would help the Boys and Girls Club. It's a great way to keep our youth physically fit. We're excited to have CSM Fitness Equipment join our business community, and we look forward to the doors being open in Garden Grove for many years. And they have something like 80,000 square feet, and they've got these machines, and some of them are near new. And they turn everything over, he says, in a 28-day cycle. So it is a heck of a market, and it's very good for us. And, so I'm happy that they're here. And if it takes the mayor or city council people or something to go out and shake hands and smile, and one of the reasons that I do that thing too is you get to know people and you find out what kind of businesses you have in your city. I mean, you can drive down some streets in this city, you have absolutely no idea what type of business is in there. And I think we should find out a little bit more about it. But one of the major things is you're putting a face and a name together. If somebody has a problem, and sometimes the problem starts out very small, but if they don't know who to contact, if they call and somebody's not really sure where to put them or who to hook them up to, and they send them to somebody else and someone else, and sometimes the runaround is very frustrating for people, and it's not intentional sometimes. But I think that if they put a name to a face, they can call me up. They could, if they meet the council people, they can call them up and say, here's the problem I'm having. Can you help me with it? And that's one of the things that makes Garden Grove great, is because we do respond to problems and complaints and situations that small businesses need some help with. So I'm kind of proud that we do it, and we've been very successful at it. And if you go around our city, there are a lot of people moving in, not moving out. And that says something for our city, our staff, and the people here, the customers too. So anyway, it was really enjoyable, and I just wanted to throw that out a little bit. And at this time, I'm going to adjourn the regular meeting, and the next council meeting will be held March 8th. However, we have a closed session item that we're going to. Do I have to announce that again?
Well, actually, it's simply, you previously announced it, and we're re-adjourning back into that closed session.
Okay, we're adjourning back to the closed session. Thank you and good night.